Hey, everybody. It says I'm live, so I guess I am. If you are here live, please check in. Let me know you're here. I'm Anna, in case you don't know. And this is the first live stream I've done, so people may or may not show up for it. I understand that. And I also just planned it this morning. so I'm going to try to do this in a more regular way. And I'm about to talk about that. But yeah, if for those of you who are here either live or watching the rewind, oh, there's one person waving. Hi, Linda Elizabeth. Um, uh, Feel free to share that you're here, and and your thoughts about what we're doing here. Oh, there's several people here. There's Les and Alan, Elizabeth, Hattori, and FB and Jacqueline. Hey, everybody. So I thought we would start with I have these chimes which are supposed to set an intention. And the reason they do that is because they are slightly out of sync with each other. They're not quite matched. They're not harmonizing. And so it's a disruptive sound. And that's the idea is you're kind of welcoming a disruption, welcoming something that will break in to your awareness. So I just want to start with some 3 chimes before we get into our new moon work. So yeah, it may be a little jangly to you. See it. It's almost painful to the ears. I wonder if it was painful to you guys. Um, yeah, there's more folks that have checked in. Yeah, Raquel, Bonzo, Alan. Yeah, lots of you guys are here. Great. So yeah, thank you for joining me. So it's funny because I have been deciding I wanted to try a new discipline this year, and looking at the new and the full moons, because I'm kind of experimenting with finding balance. A lot of people who I work with, if you're a creator, you probably have this experience of sort of like having energy and losing energy, and kind of trying to navigate what to do about that. Because if you're a linear person, you tend to have consistent energy. But if if you lean toward more intuitive energy, body and heart intuitive energy, you discover your energy sort of shifts on you a lot. And just this past month, I've really been engaging that, right? And you know how you get like messages from multiple places, right? I've been getting multiple messages about the moon, trying to get more connected to the moon. And I've always been interested in it, but I've just never sat down and figured it out. And of course, you might have seen this book that's been advertised as the Moon Phases Journal. And so I kept seeing it advertised, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to get that because I feel like I want to lean into this more. And so this morning I woke up. So I got this book yesterday, which is it walks you through the moon phases, right? And I got it yesterday, and I didn't look at it yet. I was going to look at it today. I woke up this morning so tired. And so I opened the book, and it said, "Oh, today's the first day of the new moon," which is it's when you're out of energy, right? It's when you're kind of blank. And I thought, oh, there may be some magic to this moon stuff after all. So anyway, so when I saw this morning that this was the new moon, I thought, okay, I'm going to just schedule a live stream, kind of start my discipline here, and invite you to join me, because of course, any discipline we try is better when we do it in a group. So, you're sorry, saying I as well. Yeah. Tiredness is real. I am so tired right now. And the funny thing is, I mean, literally, the funny thing is, it was not a few days ago that I was so full of energy, and I was taking my daughter shopping, and I was cooking. I cleaned out my son's room, and I'm like, man, I am just flying high. Then I was like, bonk this morning. So I am intrigued to see what happens when I'm deliberately making a decision of how I'm going to schedule my activities, right? Um, so, um, so the new moon, and I'm sure you're all probably more aware of this than I am if you follow the moon. But the idea of this phases of the moon is from the new moon to this full moon. So tired. I'm so glad we're in this together, right? So we're all kind of going, oh, the moon is phased out, and we're all tired. So from the new moon, so the new moon is the dark moon, right? We can't see any light, and then it waxes. I think that's you waxes. It gets brighter and brighter, right? And the full moon is kind of the peak energy. We're there. We've peaked. Our light is the brightest. And then from the full moon to the new moon, we're losing light again, right? So now we're kind of expending our energy. So the way I see it is like you're gaining energy from the new moon to the full moon. You're investing energy from the full moon to the new moon. Okay, you're building energy, you're investing energy, right? That's how I'm thinking in terms of my own energetic balance. So I thought, well, if that's true, then during the new moon to the full moon, where I'm gaining energy, I have to do activities that give me energy. And for me, I'm an introvert. So my activities that I gain energy on are solitary ones. It is about reading and creating music and going swimming and things that I'm alone for, because people take my energy, not in a bad way, but I lose energy around people. So I thought, well, let's say I spend 2 full weeks just building energy, really letting myself settle into this energy growth. And then at the full moon, start using up my energy, like really expending it in a deliberate way. That would be like cleaning the house and hanging out with my friends and my family and whatever it is that feels like I'm giving my energy in the world and letting it go all the way to zero. Because I realized that what I've been doing my whole life is trying to find a balance in a shorter frame of reference. Like, well, I'll spend a few hours reading and then a few hours cleaning, and like trying to chop my day up into engagement in solitariness. And maybe it needs to be different than that. Maybe a concentrated 2 weeks of solitariness followed by a full 2 weeks of really strong engagement, where I'm really completely exhausting myself. I wonder if that's going to work. So that's my theory. And I just want to see how I'm just going to share with you as we go along. I'm going to pull a spread in a minute, to kind of hopefully to surface some insights about maybe what this new moon will open for us. You are free to look at the cards I pick and see how they apply to you and share how they apply to you, or you're free to pull your own deck out and just, you can use my questions and see what comes up for you. So yeah. It's funny. You're all saying how tired you are. Oh, you just woke up from a nap, Tori. It's good. I did not. I actually did just cook dinner, but I did it very slowly. I did it with very low energy. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So we will see. And I would love to hear if this makes sense to you, if this idea makes sense to you. I just know that that's been a lifelong challenge of mine, is that I'll plan to do something and I get to it and I can't. I'm out of energy and I can't ever predict it. I've never known what was going on. And now I feel like my mind and my intuition have sort of developed a relationship where they're trying to work it out together. And so maybe it's going to work now. We'll see. So, Elizabeth, you've done this for a while. Good. So it seems to be working for you then? It makes sense? Let us know, because I would love to. I just kind of made this up out of my own head. But of course, anything you make up, it's because it's in the air, right? Other people have done it and you're sort of realizing the new thing. Yeah, good. I've always known there's something true about the resting and the exertion, right? I know it makes sense cyclically that it's there, but I've never kind of deliberately worked my life. I planned my life around it, if that makes sense. So, and it could be that I'm almost 50. So I'm like starting to wise up a little bit. It takes a while to figure out that you need to come up with a plan, right? So if you have your cards and you want to pull cards with me, you're certainly welcome to do so. I have, of course, the Rider-Waite, because that's what I always use. Also, if you have any questions about the tarot, I can answer whatever's coming up. But if I don't hear those questions, I'll just plan on doing the spread. So, according to this book, I know almost nothing about the moon phases, and I know not much about the astrology. But this book helps connect. Like, this is the moon. Like, apparently, this new moon is the moon of Sagittarius. Elizabeth, you're 49. I've been saying I'm 50 for 2 years, and my husband keeps saying you're not 50 because I'm 49 right now, but I feel 50. I said I think I should be an honorary 50-year-old. So anyway, so this is the moon is the new moon is in Sagittarius, which the description in this book, and you may know more about this, is a very fiery male energy and the bow and arrow. Like, there's a hunter energy to this, right? And as I thought about that idea of the bow and arrow and the hunter and the male energy, I thought it really connects for me with the magician. who is the first step in the major arcana. And in the Rider Waite, he's a very strong masculine energy. Like what he's doing is evoking intention onto the planet, right? He's got one finger pointed to heaven, one finger pointed to the earth. And he's like, yes, this is what I will create. And because of that very clear, concise, deliberate, confident energy, he kind of pulls the seed from heaven and puts it into the earth, right? So I thought that reminds me a little of the idea of Sagittarius, what little I know about that. So I thought we could ask questions that would be questions for the magician. We are now at ground zero in the new moon. And ground zero is a good place to start. In religious traditions, at least in the Christian tradition, which I'm most familiar with, part of beginning a new quest, you always empty yourself before a new quest. Like there's 40 days in the wilderness, or there's 40 years in the wilderness with the Hebrews, or it's 40 days of fasting. There's this idea of you're getting rid of everything. Every ounce of everything has been spent. It's all gone, and now you are empty, which means there's nothing to block the message of your intuition. So I like that. I kind of like the idea that I'm exhausted right now because I'm like, yeah, I don't have any thoughts in my head. I'm so tired. Like, since there's nothing muddying up my head, like, yeah, maybe there is space for something new to come up. So, oh, we have a lot of almost 50s. Yeah. About withdrawal. Oh, that's interesting. An oracle card about withdrawal. Yeah. Clean slate. Yeah, it's fun. Let's try it. So the first question I have, I wanted to ask, and I've shuffled these earlier because I'm always afraid I'm going to drop my cards. I'm kind of messy when I'm shuffling. I don't like to shuffle in front of people, but I did shuffle them earlier and I haven't cut them yet. I wanted to ask, like, what is it I want to invoke? Which is really a magician question. What are we going to pull down from heaven? Now that we're empty, clean slate, flat energy, like what is the spark of new life that's coming? So I'm going to cut right here. Seems like a good spot. Oh, okay. I got the Emperor reversed. That's interesting because I think of the Emperor as the one who creates good structures, right? It's the father energy that makes sure the house is secure, that you've got resources, you've got what you need, so you can be safe. I also think of it as the number 4, which is what the Emperor, I'm going to turn him up right so you can see him better. The number 4 is about balance. It's about feeling stabilized, right? So it's powerful male energy. It's powerful masculine energy, the father who protects and guards and provides for children. And so when I think of the 4 energy, especially the Emperor, I think I am providing space for myself, which actually feels like what this is, right? It's about creating a safe space where the intuition can play, where the intuition can, and especially in the next 2 weeks, like if that's what we're going to be doing from the new moon to the full moon, like it's just going to be time for the intuition to play. Like that does seem to be what's happening. So the reversal here, the way I would read it, the reversal, because I read reversals. If you want to ask me more about this, I read reversals in the context of a spread and in response to my question. So I asked a positive question, which is, what's the thing I want to evoke? I'm not going to invoke negative things. So the reversal has to be positive because that's my rule, right? So the reversal here, I would say, is like the internalization of this Emperor. The Emperor says, yes, I will take care of this. I will make sure that you're guarded in the next 2 weeks. What's interesting is I did cook, I said, tonight. And I told my husband, I said, you know what? I'm not going to cook for the next 2 weeks. I'd already made the decision. I said, I'm going to let you guys fend for yourselves. I don't have small children. I have teenage children. Actually, one's technically an adult. So, and they've been feral. I've let them go feral many times in their lives. So, they can handle taking care of their own food. But I said, I'm going to set that aside. And normally I do cook 4 to 5 times a week for my family. I actually do like it. I'm not doing it because I have to, but it was like, yeah, if I'm going to be deliberate, I'm going to start pulling back from the things, making choices where I don't have to give energy to this. And instead I can do something else. So I feel like that actually is a good start for the Emperor, is like, let's set aside the things that, that actually are taking energy away, because we're going to be, very committed to the little wild child, which I think of my intuition as the wild child getting to play. So that's one idea, right? So you can let me know if you want to play with the Emperor reverse yourself, how that's coming up for you, or if you have your own cards you're pulling. What is it I'm trying to invoke? What is the magician pulling down from heaven? Let me know. That's interesting, because I also think of masculine energy as being very decisive, right? So the challenge we often have if you're an intuitive, because intuitive energy is feminine, right? And a lot of intuitives, we have to kind of develop a relationship between the masculine and the feminine, all this stuff, I'm sure, where the mind is supporting the masculine, supporting the feminine, right? But until that happens, the feminine kind of doesn't have anyone to sort of create the space, and ends up like not keeping space properly. When you kind of give up your energy too quickly, or you violate your space very easily, because it's hard to hold attention. But the masculine has no problem holding attention. He's like, I've locked the door is locked, right? So it's really nice to have that sort of, I'm not cooking, and I don't feel guilty, and I don't feel bad about it. My husband's also very cool about it, but I'm saying I don't feel I'm guilty, because the masculine doesn't feel guilty. You hungry, you can feed yourself, right? He's not that nurturing, right? He's not nurturing to others. He's only nurturing to the feminine. So anyway, it's nice when you get a masculine energy kind of stepping in and saying, yeah, I'll keep the door locked. I'll make sure you have your space, right? Okay. So I'm gonna look and see if anybody has anything. Magician and justice. Ooh, justice. That's good too. Self-authority. Yeah, self-authority. It's Kells, right? Self-authority. I'm authorizing something when, but it's always important that the mind or the masculine's not doing it on its own, because then it can make him a dictator. It's doing it in service to the feminine, right? That's why the relationship is so important. But yes, you want to be authorized to do the right thing so the magic can flow, right? The sun. Ooh, the sun. You got to go to a beach somewhere. Odyssey mind. um, yeah, I was gonna say, I was thinking about I'm sorry, Chakrain. I don't know how to say the name. I'm sorry, but I thought about doing that, because I started seeing, there's like shorts, like doing numerology videos. That there are shorts that kind of, where you do little short videos, although my videos are pretty short anyway. I thought about maybe doing shorts where I talk about numerology, because yes, my system of how I engage the cards is very connected, because my mind likes to have systems. And so I kind of when I learned the tarot, I kind of set out the numbers and said, well, this is what this number is going to mean to me, because it's intuitive to how I read the cards. So I'm thinking about doing that. So you saying that makes me think, yeah, I should probably do that. Judgment. So judgment is like resurrection, right? So, okay. Angel, how did I learn? Oh, how can I pull a card? Let me see. Let me know if you want me to pull a card. I mean, I don't want to get too, I mean, I'm happy to do it, but yeah, if you want me to pull a card for you, let me know what the card is about, the context, and we can see how. But I learned tarot basically by studying with Biddy Tarot, who's if you look online, is a website that's a huge resource for tarot reading, and she has a certification program which is very much about developing your intuitive relationship to the cards. I took that certification program and I loved it. So that's how I learned. That's how I practiced it and learned it. And then a part of that certification is you do like thousands of like clear spreads for strangers, right? So you do it so many times that you start to get pretty good at least you get your own sense of how you read. So yeah, the Emperor with healing some old wounds. Oh, Elizabeth, cool. Judgment upright. You said song signs. Yeah. Yeah. Self-care is already securing. Yes. It's interesting, because once the masculine, we talk about boundaries, creating boundaries. Once the masculine's in place, you don't really need boundaries, because the masculine's going to hold the space, because people don't challenge the emperor, right? If he's locking the gate, he doesn't have to hold boundaries. You just back off, right? There's something pretty impressive about masculine energy that's not young, like hero energy, like I'm going to beat people up. That's young masculine energy, right? It's warrior energy. That's basically quiet, still, calm, but you're not gonna mess with the warrior, right? So there's something about the mind becoming more mature, more confident, that ends up its very presence creates the perimeter. So yeah. Let's see. Okay. Shorts okay, I'll do it. Shorts. Yes. I was thinking about it. I actually, so I don't have a tarot book like with meanings of tarot cards. I have a book that's called The Gospel According to Tarot. And it's me really playing with the tarot and connecting it to the stories in the life of Jesus Christ, the Christ. So if you look it's online, it's on Amazon, the Gospel According to Tarot. And I go through the from the Wheel of Fortune all the way to the world. And I walk through the life of Christ and I, as a paradigm for how we're looking at the spiritual journey, because the major arcana is set up in such a way that it's a spiritual journey, right? They're incrementally the steps carry you through the spiritual journey. And I thought, oh, I wonder if I took someone's spiritual journey like Jesus and put it with the tarot, how that would work. It was really fun to do. But it's basically set up as 12 different lessons that I wrote it for my clients. I have clients I work with for a year at a time. And we had finished the first half of the major arcana. So I wrote these lessons for them and then I put it in a book. So it's kind of designed to go for a year, like 1 month, one card a month for a year. So, okay. All right. So let's do the next question, which is, so we had, what is this evoking for me? What am I trying to evoke? Second question for me would be like, what's an action step? What can I do to help the energy build? Because if we're at ground zero, right, we need to do something to begin to acquire energy, draw it in. So let's see what happens. Oh, 5 of Swords reversed. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting, right? The five is the challenge point, right? Oh, this is good. This is good for me. I'll speak for myself. The 5 is the challenge point of any of the spread, or of any of the trajectories. It's the point that you kind of commit and you go over to the other side of the journey, or you don't commit and you fall backwards, right? It's a challenge. Swords are about the mind. So it's about what you believe, how you communicate your paradigms, right? So the image here is this guy, he's collected swords. So he's been fighting with people, right? So he's been in battle and he's kind of proud. He's got a smirk on his face. He's pretty proud of himself. It's like this is a mind card. So he's been beating people. He's been arguing them down. He's been defending himself. He's been proving his point. He's pretty confident, pretty cocky. The clouds in the sky indicate that this is not a good scene. This is not a productive or powerful. So maybe he's winning, quote unquote, but he's not really accomplishing anything. It's kind of a murky scene, right? So the image you have here are these two guys walking away. If you can see them, they put down their swords and they're walking away. So it's the challenge to me. The way I read this card, the challenge is don't fall into somebody else's battle. Like this guy wants to prove himself. He wants to be big and bad and impressive, right? And he wants to get you to fight with him, because then he wants to show he's smarter than you. The winning move is to put down your sword and walk away. This is not going to, who cares? You've got more important things to do with your time than to have pointless debates that get you nowhere. It reminds me of the movie, I say this all the time, but there's an old movie, because I'm almost 50, right? War Games, which with Matthew Broderick, and he was just a pup, but it's about a computer that's staging a nuclear war. Anyway, the very end, the computer's taking over things, about to launch missiles and all kinds of stuff. And they teach the computer in the end that he basically tries to figure out how to win a nuclear war. And in the end, the computer says, it's a strange game. The only winning move is not to play, right? So the computer stops his launching the codes because he realizes it's pointless. So I feel like there's something pointless about this, right? If your mind falls into this trap, it loses all its energy and you get kind of yanked backwards, right? So you want the mind to become disciplined to recognize what is not worth your time. So it's like when I'm on my YouTube channel, I don't get a lot of meanness on my YouTube channel, but when I get it, I just delete it. I don't discuss it. I don't argue with it. I just delete it because I don't have time for that. It's my channel. I can kick you off if I want, right? So there is something about this that the challenge is meeting the challenge means knowing to walk away. So when I see the reversal in this case, because I'm asking what are the helpful steps I can take, I would say it's successfully meeting the challenge, which is disciplining my mind to not get engaged with things that are not about what I'm about, like really staying self-referential, which to me, especially in the time, the way I understand the new moon to the full moon, I have to be self-oriented because that's how my energy builds. For a lot of intuitives and creatives, we are self-referential, which means you get your inspiration from being yourself, from being by yourself, because you're doing something new and you're not doing what other people are doing. So they can't really help you or give you advice. They might encourage you, but even that's kind of not necessary as much as it is that you get clear on your own, listening to your own voice of intuition. So there is a need for us to be very self-referential. And that means not getting caught in other people's crazy stuff. Song songs. I hate when I get that card. Well, I get it. I mean, the 5s are kind of unpleasant. And a lot of the swords are kind of unpleasant looking cards, but that's because the mind has such a hard time. The mind's really the one challenged in the spiritual journey. So Oh, you're saying, I'm sorry, Raquel is saying, Star Tarot Journey, you've been a teacher. Good. Thank you. If you're called to go into astrology, okay. Yeah. I'll think about that because I haven't spent a lot of time. Now, some of my clients do a lot of astrology. So I've gotten a little bit of side information, but yeah, listen to yours, not reacting. Yeah, learning how not to react. That's how Tori's saying. Not, which means you're getting your mind to grow up. In a good way. Everyone has to grow up. So we're not picking on the mind. Everyone starts youthful, and the mind's youthful energy is like your energy. Your chi is so big, it kind of goes, so your mind is also has that energy. So you have to like gently correct the youth. As you're training your youth, you're gently correcting it, and the mind's getting better. And it's also like training, like, not to say your mind's a dog, but like training a dog, like you're just gently correcting it until a dog probably learns quicker than a mind, to be honest, but until they learn a new pattern of behavior. So it does require us not to be judging of the mind, not to get angry with the mind, to try to be gentle and loving with the mind as it's learning these lessons. Which is, I think that's the role of the soul. The soul is the part of us that I think is the God within us. And part of what I do with my clients is we kind of open ourselves to that loving, unconditionally loving energy, and then talk to the mind, like as an individual, as a character. So the mind gets a chance to be mentored by the soul who loves it. And so when it messes up, it's okay. The soul comes in and consoles and says, yeah, we'll just try again, instead of the mind beating itself up, which is what it will often do, left to its own devices. So yeah, it's just helping the mind remember that its focus isn't out there. Its focus is right in here. Its focus is actually to get more and more aligned with the feminine, so it can be the emperor, which is that beautiful, amazing father energy, which is completely confident and clear in making a safe space. So yeah. Yes. My mom looks at your channel, so I want to see what it is. Oh, I'm sorry. I might have missed something from Weirdo. Yeah. This is it. Elizabeth says, I love this as discernment. Yeah. About where it's worth spending energy and where it's not. And you learn that by doing it, right? You learn life by doing life. And we tend to be so frustrated with ourselves that we have to learn. I mean, at least, youngsters do, until they learn that you have to learn. My kids hate learning. They just want to know everything already. I have a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old. So they're having to learn how to learn, that it's okay to learn. It's supposed to happen. So my last question I wanted to ask is, what is the blessing that we're bringing to the world? So we're kind of evoking this space. And so far for me, these cards have been about making space for me, not engaging, stuff that doesn't belong to me, which are kind of self-referential, which makes sense. But because I'm a creative person and an innovator, and most people who are drawn to what I'm doing are as well, we are so self-referential. It's easy for us to forget that, yes, we are self-referential. We need to be self-referential, but we're still connected to the whole. And so while we're doing these things that are sort of focused on ourselves, we are evoking blessing for everyone around us. It's easy for us to think we're being selfish because we're doing it differently, because what we're doing requires a different sort of skill set, a different kind of intentionality than other people who are more linear. So it's easy to think that because we're not doing it the way they're doing it, that we are being selfish. So me not cooking for my family for 2 weeks, could be considered selfish, because I'm not taking care of them the way a more linear mother might take care of them. But there is a blessing attached. When I do this, there's a blessing attached that's actually much more impactful than whether they eat peanut butter or something I fix for the night, right? So I like to always ask the question, what is the blessing? Because there is always a blessing. We don't take care of ourselves to the detriment of others. When we take care of ourselves, the world is blessed. So what is the blessing? That at the end of this, we get to the full moon, which is the brightest we're going to shine. What will be what is shining from us? So this is the next card. Oh my gosh, it's the Fool. I mean, come on, it's the best card. No, I like all the cards. But the Fool is this powerfully magical wild child energy, right? It's like he's about to walk off a cliff right here, right? He's about to walk off a cliff because he's so enamored of looking at the sun. He's carrying a flower. There is this idea that this Fool doesn't even watch where he's going because he so completely believes the universe is going to take care of him that he doesn't have to watch his feet. And he's right. The universe does take care of him because he just puts himself right in the universe's hands. So this to me is that wild child magical genius that we have. So that means we are literally just emanating blessing. We are walking in light with a light foot and engaging in every moment the way a child would with the eyes of an innocent. So yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind that being my full moon. In 2 weeks, if I could be the fool and just be like, yeah, have dancing around and smelling flowers and jumping in the sunlight, I'd be okay with that. So yeah, those are my cards for now. Um, let me go back. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, Alan, you're 20. So yeah, you're a bit of a youngster. That's good. Youngsters have so much energy. They can, it's great. When you get to be 50, you got to start being, you got to kind of, bring in your energy a bit more. Four of Cups. That's a nice one. That's Les. Yeah, Four of Cups is beautiful because it is about, yeah, that lovely. It's really kind of that lovely sense of balance where you're really in touch with your heart and you're letting yourself be served by that magical hand. In the Rider-Waite, there's this magical hand giving you a cup of support and being balanced in your heart. That's a really nice one. Okay, so Angel, how do you learn to discern the true message from the cards? Well, I say we're always there is no true message in the cards. The magic isn't in the cards, the magic's in me, right? So I am discerning. I am asking questions from my perspective. I'm discerning from my perspective, which means what I'm discerning may or may not resonate with people. And if it doesn't resonate with you, you can say, yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. So you kind of ignore it. You let it go, right? We're all just, I think we all have the divine within us, but we all have human perspectives, which is good because we all have different perspectives. But I also think that there's nothing holy about the cards. They're really just cards, right? I think all of the magic lies within us. So I bring my intention and my partnership with the divine, and I ask the divine to help me see things. And because I have a shorthand with the card, the card's just a shorthand for me. So like when I pull a card, I already have a relationship with the card, and I think that I'm asking for my soul to communicate with me. Really, I think that the tarot is a tool for the mind to try to get in contact with the soul, right? Because there's pictures, there's ideas, there's ways for the mind to sort of sit down and understand something. So I use the tarot with my clients basically because it helps them, that their minds and my mind sort of settle on a story. And then we go into deeper healing and we do other work. So depending on what I want to do with the cards, they will change. They will respond to me, which is also why I don't read other people's spreads. When someone gives me a spread, I pulled the spread. I'm like, well, these cards are talking to you. I don't know what there's not an objective meaning, not the way I read them. I know there are people who would probably read it differently. I read the Bible in the same way I read it according to me, right? In fact, I got accused in seminary by one of my professors of eisegeting the text. So when you are working with any kind of exegeting means you're reading the text in the context of like society. Eisegeting means you're reading in the context, in your own context, in the context of you. So he accused me of eisegeting because I'm reading the Bible the way I see it. And I'm like, yeah, but I own that. I'm not saying I'm the voice of God. I'm saying I'm the voice of Anna. And I'm reading the scripture through my lens. And there's value in that. There's value because there is a bit of God in me that's communicating. There's value in that. It's not the only value in the world, and it doesn't eliminate anyone else's value. It just adds to what is the blessing of the world. So that's why I don't even really know how to teach someone tarot. I know how I learned it from Biddy Tarot, which I think her system is really excellent if you want to learn intuitively. But, I don't have any tarot books. I don't know how to write a book because it's like me trying to write a book on marriage because I've been married to my husband for 20 years. I can tell you what it's like to be married to my husband, but I don't know what it's like to be married to everybody else. So I don't know how to write that book. So yeah. Let's see. We will frolic. Yes. Yes, so sorry. We will frolic. Yeah. You don't usually like the full moon energy for some reason. That's interesting. Well, maybe as we work together as a community, there'll be some new insight that comes out of it. So death as the blessing. Death as the blessing. I'm not sure what it's referring to, but I think death is a blessing in the tarot. There is blessing in the death. So I feel like there was something I missed. Okay, let's see. What I should evoke? The Fool. Oh, how can I do to help the Four of Pentacles reverse? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Let's see. I feel like there was something. I missed something. If I missed something, you can let me know I missed it. And I will go back and read read the stuff. I don't have like a moderator because I'm not that uh advanced in what I'm doing right now. But I will read your messages later and see if and respond if I'm missing you. I'm trying to catch them, but anyway, so yeah, that's what I've got for this time is we're starting this new moon. Yeah, I'm gonna continue to. I feel like my emperor has already started coming out. I'm going to see what else the emperor can do, how else it can construct this for me. I am going to keep an eye on my mind, asking it to not engage stuff because right now we're being self-referential, which means I'm not going to engage other people's stuff. And yeah, I want to see, yeah, what happens with the Fool. What happens when I'm given all that space to play? Yeah, is the Fool going to come out? So yeah. Oh, Brandon, you got the same moon journal. It's really pretty, and especially if you're trying to be deliberate about this, I think it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I actually wrote my notes on it today. So, oh, Elizabeth, you organize your planner with the moon cycle. Yeah, I've always kind of meant to do that, and I just never did until now. I'm gonna do it now. I'm trying to do it now. But of course, any discipline is better when you do it in a group. So if we do it together, it'll be easier for me. So, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. Yeah, thank you for joining me. And if you're watching this as a rerun, yeah, feel free to share what your thoughts are. And I'll check in periodically and get any responses. But I'll probably schedule it a little more in advance next time. But we'll plan to meet again for the full moon, and we'll see, who's in full fool. So I will see you then, you guys. Until then, have a wonderful new moon season. Bye.